welcome to Daggerfall. This is Daggerfall Unity, and I'm using one mod, the Dream, just to make things look nicer. So now in this playthrough, we're gonna bring back our old friend Sauron from the Elder Scrolls Arena. And of course he's going to be a high elf. So we're going to cook Somerset Isle. And he's a male. I'm going to create a custom class for this. And he is going to be Dark Lord. Here it is. Pretty generic. We're going to have a fairly easy time getting through stuff. Now we're going to pick the or go through the background, and none of that really makes much of a difference, but I gave Sauron an ebony dagger, which is going to help a lot. And I go with this face. He seems pretty evil to me, so I'm rolling a bunch here and end up just loading a roll that I had already done. That was good enough. So here's what our starting skills are going to be at. I'm just gonna end up dumping all the points into one skill. So I'm gonna pick destruction here and just dump it all in there. Thaumaturgy and I believe critical strike. Keep that on average. Here's our stats.
"400 years after Tiberseptim's reign, the beginning will meet the end, and the bloody circle will close in the empire of Tamriel. The unworthy heirs of the Septim dynasty have allowed the bonds of the empire to weaken and crack. Uriel Septim the Seventh cannot repair what his ancestors ignored. The provinces fight among themselves like neglected children, drunk with rebellion, and one indomitable power hides itself, but not forever."
Excuse the gloom, but none may know of this meeting. The nature of my trouble is darker still. Over a year ago, King Lysandus of Daggerfall died honorably on the field of battle. He was as loyal a subject, ally, and friend as you are. I did grieve for him, but his spirit does not rest. With a spectral army, he haunts his former kingdom, crying for revenge. I do not know why a good and loyal man would be so cursed. Perhaps you can find the answer and close the marble jaws of oblivion, bringing peace to his soul. I ask this as your emperor and your friend. I have one lesser request. Several years ago, I wrote a letter to the Queen of Daggerfall. It never arrived. The letter was of a sentimental and personal nature. If you find and destroy that letter, I will be grateful. Now, my champion, rest well this night. For tomorrow you sail for the kingdom of Daggerfall.
Alright, time to start the starting dungeon for Daggerfall. This is actually a fairly short dungeon. As long as you know where to go, it's kind of like Arena. It's not too difficult. I'd almost argue it's easier. As long as you have a decent weapon with you. Alright, off we go. I'm just gonna check my settings here to make sure I know what the settings are. Because I was just playing Arena. And the controls are wildly different. And our first enemy has been slain. So there's an imp here. This guy can be a problem if you don't have a good enough material to kill him. Or you could just run past. You do not have to go into this room. And I have some forbidden materials on Sauron here. He's not allowed to use iron or silver, which is not really that big of a deal. We will quickly be finding better gear than iron and silver. And right there, I'm just checking the damage on that claymore. But at the ebony daggers, doing plenty. Alright, so the way out of here is not through that door. That door kind of leads on and on. Is right through here. Oh, there's a bat and a skeleton. That can give you some trouble, and we're just gonna try to make it up those stairs and towards those banners up there. Here comes that skeleton. These guys can be a bit of a pain on the earlier levels, but we can try to move around his swings so he hits us less. There we go. Alright, so up the stairs here, there's a door there that we're not going to go through. So either you can pull this lever while you're on the stand, or you can climb. There we go. And we're just going to follow this corridor a little bit. And we can already hear the imp fighting, where we're going to end up leaving right through this door. Alright. That's the starting dungeon, and there's the exit. Make a save real quick. And off we go into the open world of Daggerfall. And now I'm just going to go to a town, and hopefully we get the starting mission. I think I'm gonna end up going to the city of Daggerfall. Now, these buttons are pretty handy. You can filter it down to towns, you can filter out to temples, dungeons, homes, and every spot on this map you can physically travel to. You can walk there. You can walk from one end of the map to the other side if you really wanted to. But we have fast travel for that, and there's Daggerfall. Now we can change a couple of things here, like we can go cautiously, recklessly, go by foot, ship, take inns, camp out. Camp out is free. Reckless, you get there in a shorter amount of time, but you can also run into some trouble. Alright, time to find the first mission. So after wandering around for a little bit, I finally got it. Here we are. And now this is what starts us off, and we gotta go meet up with Brisciana. So I'm gonna skip right to traveling to Singwood, where we will find Brisciana. Well, here she is. Alright, and she kind of kicks off the whole main mission, or the main quest, which is pretty complex. More complex than Arena. But in the meantime, I'm going to be joining the Mages Guild. I think it's appropriate that Sauron, who was a sorcerer in the previous game, should join the Mages Guild. So I'll need to get the sleep spell for this. Which I will have to sell some stuff to go buy, because I have very little money. Alright, I've sold some stuff and got enough for the sleep spell. Off to go put this person to sleep. Kindly break into this man's house. And we're gonna go very nicely ask him. And he looks absolutely terrified that I'm here. And seems like I've done something to this man, so we're gonna leave him be. I'm gonna have somebody else. To the northwest. Alright, now that I've got my spell points up at night, that's one of my disadvantages that I made. We'll go put this person to sleep. There we go. All done. We don't even have to cast it. And of course, I'm 30 minutes before it opens. So we're gonna have to loiter. Here we go. We got our money. And that will be the end of this video.